Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope all of you are well, fine, safe inside your homes. So today we are going to start with chapter 4 in history, we are going to continue with the chapter 4 in history, that is tribals, ticus and the vision of a golden age. So now we have already studied how tribals used to live and how they used to do different things for their own survival. So now we will study here some forest law and their impact. So the British had extended their over all the forests and declared that forests that were the state property. So the British had declared that those forests to be the state property. So some forests were classified as reserve forest, which was used for the timber. That is how the British wanted. So some were classified as a reserve forest, and the colonial officials allowed some of the land for the cultivation, that they would provide labor for the forest department for looking after it. So some was classified as reserve land, and some part of it was given to the laborers also. So as a result, what was their impact? What was the effect? That is, the many tribal groups reacted against the colonial forest law. They disobeyed the new rules, continued with the protests that were declared illegal. So such was the revolt of Sonagram in 1906 in Assam. So people were completely opposing it. They were against it. Why? Because they were not given what they wanted. That portion of land was not given to them what they wished or what was needed for them, and so they protested, and it had happened in 1906 in Assam. Many people say, for example, like money lenders, traders, for purchasing raw goods and lending money, they had not agreed for it. The traders made huge profits, but only a little bit of amount had reached the producers. So the businessmen, that is the traders, they were gaining a lot of money, but the poor people, that is the tribals, people who were continuing with the jhum cultivation, they were just having a little bit of it. So the condition of people who went to towns for work was also not better. So when people had even migrated from one place to another in search of this work, their condition was also not good. So they were paid very low wages and they were prevented from returning home, that is, they were not allowed to go home. So they were just used to ask to work more and more. So they were also not allowed to go to their homes back. So throughout the 19th and the 20th century, tribals rebelled against the forest law. That is, rebelled, it means they were completely opposing it. They were against it. The Kolas rebelled in 1831-32. Then the Santhal rose revolt in 1855. These are the different tribes that were there, and their different time periods are given. Then Worli revolt in Maharashtra 1940. So these are just the different years with the different tribes rebelling. Now we will study some important part, that is about Birsa Munda. So now here we start with it. So in 1895, Birsa urged his followers to recover the past glory, a golden age where the tribals held their heads high. So he talked of a golden past, that is what the Mundas, they led to a good life. They constructed the embankments, tapped the natural springs, planted trees and orchards, and practiced cultivation to earn their living. So he was the person who had talked about planting trees and practicing cultivation and earn their living. So he had given importance to it. So as the movement spread, the British officials decided to act. They arrested Birsa in 1895 and they convicted him on charges of rioting and jailed him for 2 years. So anyhow, British had managed to get him in jail for the 2 years. When Birsa was released in 1897, he began to gather support against the British by using traditional methods. So once he was out of jail, he started using different methods to completely boycott the British. So they attacked police stations and churches and raided the properties of moneylenders and zamindars. They raised the white flag as the symbol of Birsa Raj. So he was a pride for the country in those times. In 1900, that is, Birsa Munda died out of cholera and the movement faded out. So in this year he actually died, and that had came to an end. So this is what we learn. Now what is the significance of this? What is the importance of this? It showed that tribals could protest against injustice and express their dissatisfaction over the colonial rule. So the importance is that yes, tribals also they also have their own voice, and they can also protest and they can also express their dissatisfaction. So this was the importance of this Birsa Munda. So it introduced laws so that the government could not take away the land of the tribals. So the land which was belonging to the tribals, it should be there with them. It should not be taken away from them. So this is what we have learnt in this chapter, how the tribals lived, survived, and how they protested. So that is what we have studied today. Thank you and have a nice day.